Hey everybody, I'm Ben Parsons.
I'm John Dowdy.
And we're here to recap the Clemson baseball series. We both were at all three games this weekend, the one in Greenville, the one in Clemson, and the one today in Columbia.
Fun road trip.
Yeah, it was pretty fun, right, John?
Yeah.
And we're here to talk about some of the things we saw with our baseball team this week. The first one being is that our bullpen needs a lot of work.
Our bullpen really consists of two guys, Josh Reagan as our setup guy and Tyler Johnson as our closer. Now, apparently, T-Joe has been overworked in the last, couple weeks. He got his save against Clemson at Clemson in their 2-0 victory. Reagan had the 8th inning. T-Joe came in the 9th and did his thing. Then they go to Fluor Field. They're up 4-2 going into the middle innings, going into the.
It was 5-2 at one point.
It was 5-2 going into the last 3 innings, and then the bullpen just laid a goose egg.
And the problem with what you were saying is what you're talking about. We have two great relievers, but we overworked them. And with Tyler Johnson, he came in that game. He pitched an inning and tried to pitch even more, but he realized that his elbow was causing him a little discomfort.
This elbow.
Well, yeah, this elbow. Sorry.
There you go.
It was causing him discomfort, and that we can't. Like, Tyler Johnson is good. Don't get me wrong. He can hit upper 90s, 97 max about. But like, you can't have him pitch every day because that's just not healthy for him or the team. So we have a lot of young pitchers, but we need them to get better.
Yeah, he hits that upper 90s, that 96, 97, and he's a power pitcher, so he's going to be throwing that 96, 97 every time. I haven't seen any sort of off-speed in his arsenal. And, so the rest of the bullpen, sure, you have seniors in Coley Bowers and Reed Scott, but then you got the young guns, Sawyer Bridges. I'm blanking on other names at this moment. We just saw Sawyer down at the ballpark a couple hours ago.
But Lawson is another young guy.
And Tyler Haswell. These guys, we've seen these names before. Ben is referring to
Tyler
Haswell's intentional walk pitch that went under the catcher.
Which gave Clemson the win.
Which basically gave Clemson the game-winning run. We'll get to that in a minute. But this kind of adds to the point that I want to make, that South Carolina is not going to make a postseason run if they can't, compete with the competition that is on par with them, South Carolina being the 4th-ranked team in the nation, Clemson being the 12th. You go into Fluor Field, and you have that advantage going into the last 3 innings, and then you throw it away because, your bullpen is non-existent past Reagan and Johnson.
Yeah.
And then you come home today, and, there was some officiating, questionality that we will not go into.
Nope.
But you have a 3-2 lead in the 9th, and you don't give Seth Beer a hanging ball right in his wheelhouse that he's going to crank over the bullpen.
Can we get this straight? Why pitch to Seth Beer at all? We knew from day one in this series that he's their best player. Yes, he didn't do that much on Friday.
No one did a whole lot of anything on Friday. That was a pitcher's duel. Clark Schmidt, you are a godsend.
Yes, if you want to watch a kind of boring highlight, but a great
go
game,
check out
mine. But why would you pitch to Beer right there? You had nobody on base. You could have easily walked him. It was a 3. It was.
Well, that was the reason they pitched it to him, because there was nobody on base. There's no reason.
It was a 3-2 count in the bottom of the 9th with 2 outs, and then you just. It was Reagan, right? Yeah. Reagan just. It's not like he put it in a bad spot. It's just Beer can hit.
Beer has bat power. He turned on it and gone.
And I mean, he hit one out yesterday too. That ball went about 430 feet, and that was off of Will Crow. And Will Crow does not give up a lot of homers.
That was the first inning off of Will Crow. Will Crow and our starting pitching. Beautiful.
No, our starting pitching, that's what we found out this weekend, is our starting pitching is no joke. But the problem is when our starting pitching is worked by a good lineup and they're only limited to about 5 or 6 innings.
Like Adam Hill was today.
Yeah, it puts a lot of stress on our bullpen.
Today being Sunday, March 5th, as the recording of this episode. If you're watching this in the future, some of this might be irrelevant, but a lot of it is going to be, a lot of it's going to stick around. Hill threw, 107, 108 pitches?
Hill threw roughly about that today, and he only threw it in about 5 plus
He went
innings.
5 1/3 today, final line. I don't remember all the stats offhand.
He had like 7 Ks.
I know he had 7 Ks, let up 3 walks, and only one run.
I mean, Clark Schmidt on Friday, that was Friday, yeah. Clark Schmidt on Friday pitched great. He didn't have his best game. He was high in the pitch count too, but
Nobody had their best game on Friday, to be honest with you.
He limited them to no runs, and he got out of jams. That's what he was good at.
The double play ball was working.
With the bases loaded.
The double play ball was heavily favoring Clark Schmidt on Friday night. I think Madison Stokes turned 2 6-3s And
Now,
Madison Stokes.
Speaking of Madison Stokes, let's
hate
talk.
to rip on you, buddy, and I'm going to get a lot of flack for this. Ben has comments on this too.
Yeah.
You got to learn how to hit the ball.
I mean,
Every team has their one defensive player. Usually that's a lot of catchers.
yeah.
And some of the occasional shortstop. But come on, bro.
I mean,
hit the cages.
That brings us to another. He couldn't hit the broadside of a barn this week. But that brings us to the more important topic, in my opinion, is we need to hit well, and we need to hit
situational hitting.
Yeah, we need
Something
timely clutch hitting. And this series, we did not get it. We could have easily won all 3 games of this series, but we had 2 slip away.
That game at Fluor Field literally got away because of some, some hitting when it didn't happen when they needed it to. They had guys in scoring position. I don't know how many times T.J. Hopkins or L.T. Tolbert was standing on third, and then just 1, 2, 3. The next guys just don't make any nothing happens. I think the one time that happened was Jonah Bride's bomb into the Green Monster at Fluor Field. That ball was just a line drive, almost hit Cocky in the face.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we don't have the best clip of that he was shooting at the time.
Sorry.
But yeah, aside from that, situational hitting is something that South Carolina is not the best at. So 2 things to keep track of: situational hitting and the bullpen. What's the third thing that's holding them back, Benny?
The third thing I'd say that's holding them back is just dumb decisions overall. I mean, like the coach on Saturday, he sent. I don't remember who it was, but he sent.
It was one of the bigger guys.
He sent one of the bigger guys home off of a single to try and tie the game. He got thrown out at the plate, and that ruined any chance.
Basically pulled
back.
all momentum out of Carolina's comeback. This is the Saturday game at Fluor Field, mind you. Coach Esposito, third base coach is the hardest coaching position, minus head coach. I get it. I get that you want to win, or at least put your team in the best possible chance to win, but you don't send a big guy home.
No, he sent him home, and granted, it was
from second.
He sent him from second, and granted, he had got a good jump off of second, and the ball went through. But it's not something you should have sent him in. And I would say another situation is the substitutions in today's game.
Oh, God.
They came back to bite the Gamecocks.
Oh boy. Beer. Seth Beer.
Pretty
there you
much,
go.
Seth Beer right there. But we took out Cullen, who was hitting great.
You pull Chris Cullen out of the catcher's position for a pinch runner.
Yeah.
That gets around to third, doesn't get past there. And then you're like, all right, well,
who's gonna
we've
catch
lost
now?
a catcher, now we lost this pinch runner. Hunter Taylor?
And Hunter Taylor, he's a decent catcher.
Decent catcher, no bat.
No bat, and also his arm is not as good as Cullen's, at least in my opinion. And Clemson knew that because right when
they ran 2 guys on Taylor.
They ran, I think, 2 or 3 on Taylor, and he could not get them at all. And that ended up giving him a little bit of insurance runs in the in the top of the 11th. So I would say just not dumb decisions, but decision making.
Questionable decisions that I'm sure Coach Holbrook was asked about post game.
Post game, yeah, he was.
And any coach in that situation, the answer is, well, we're going to do everything that we can to put our team in the best possible chance to win. Well, and you can't discredit that. Obviously, that's what these coaches are out there to do is plan the strategy, put the best 9 out there, and then make the changes as necessary to try and win the game.
And we're not here to rip on.
We're not trying to rip on Coach at all, no.
Or Coach in any fashion. I mean, there's a lot of things we did well this week too. Like starting pitching was fantastic.
Clark Schmidt on Friday night was phenomenal.
Oh my gosh, he was great. And I mean, the defense, our defense was great. Clemson's, they had a lot of errors.
Clemson had 5 errors in that Saturday game.
And I think they had 2 the night before because that's how we won that game off an error. But like, our defense was great. We had 1 error all series. It was Jonah Bride in what would have been a 1-2-3 inning. He threw a ball in the dirt. The first baseman couldn't, and Williams couldn't scoop it. So our defense did phenomenal. Tyler Johnson pitched great when he was in.
Yeah, T.J. had a lights out Friday night.
Even though he allowed that home run to Beer, which he probably shouldn't have been pitching to in the first place, he pitched great. I think he had about 5 innings total of pitching in 2 games. He only played in 2, and he only allowed 1 run, and he shut them down today. He shut them down on Friday, and Friday was huge because he was the mid gap because
he was that setup man between Schmidt and T.J.
Yeah, because Schmidt's pitch count was so high. So we're not here to rip on our team. We just wanted to refer to things that we think need to improve for them to have a shot down at the end of the season to get to Omaha or to even just win in the SEC because the SEC is a tough conference.
The SEC is a tough conference. You've got Florida, Georgia will surprise you. The Mississippi teams, those will definitely surprise you.
Vanderbilt's good.
I remember Ole Miss it was the 2009 tournament when Virginia had to go down there for the Super Regional. the SEC is a loaded conference, and I remember overhearing somebody at Floor Field mentioning that basically the same thing about Clemson. If they keep up the sloppy play, they're not going to make it down the stretch in ACC play. The ACC, oh my lord,
and the ACC
that is
tough. That's
deadly
a different
conference.
story.
That's Virginia, Miami, Duke will surprise you, North Carolina will surprise you.
North Carolina doesn't surprise me. They're always good.
They're always good, but they've had their off years. But
that's a fair point.
But UNC is always in that discussion coming out of the ACC. So the argument that man made to me at Floor about Clemson goes the same for South Carolina.
Yeah,
they don't clean up, what we saw in this series against a very good Clemson team. Sorry, the postseason's not happening.
I mean, we might. Well, I mean, we'll still make
a regional
the postseason,
probably, but past that,
past that, it's gonna be tough. I mean, even last year for the Gamecocks, it was tough. They made it. They fought hard, and they lost to Oklahoma State. So when we're talking, the Gamecocks are sitting at 7-5 so far this year, and they've played decent teams. Wright State was ranked, and they had a 3-game set against them, won 2 out of 3. They played Clemson, and they're ranked, and they should have won more than what they had. But the thing that's important is it's a long season, and we can fix these issues. So I'm still positive looking forward. I mean, I think we are going to make the tournament at the end, make the bracket at the end of the year.
They'll definitely make the bracket. It's just a matter of they going to be able, what regional is the NCAA going to send them to if things don't turn around and we don't host here in Columbia.
Yeah.
Because you could end up. I remember this Virginia, their first time, really making an impact in the tournament. They sent them out to Irvine for a regional, which I know was fun. Which was fun for us trying to stay up till 10, 11 p.m. trying to watch those games out on the West Coast. They won that regional, by the way. That was the same year they got sent to Mississippi State. And no, it was Ole Miss, excuse me. And they won that super regional as well. Came back. They lost first game and won the next 2.
Yep, exactly. So I mean, the Gamecocks are sitting at not a difficult position, but they're sitting at a intriguing position, and that's what we just wanted to discuss.
An intriguing position, and not one you generally want to be sitting in.
No, you don't want to be in it. But so that's about all we have left. But hey, Dowdy, so what was your best experience of this weekend, though?
The part where I slept. No. Going to see the 2 different ballparks. The Clemson ballpark is an ACC yard, which is ACC yards are completely different than the SEC. You go down to Founders Park, you got this huge press box style, all the seats most of the way around behind the dugouts. You go to Clemson, they have maybe 2 grandstands right underneath their tiny little press box, 2 bleachers out in the outfield, and that's it.
Yeah.
Then you go to Floor Field, single A of the Red Sox. That is a nice ballpark.
Absolutely beautiful.
I want to go there and see a drive game.
They have a little monster, and I had a little bit of fun being on top of that little monster while he was filming. And
also slightly biased, I am a Red Sox fan, but still.
We can leave that out.
We'll leave that out for now. That's a beautiful yard.
It's
going to see the 2
yard.
And the hospitality at Floor Field was incredible.
It was great. The guy was phenomenal.
The Greenville Drive rep came down. We were sitting at our table, which we didn't know we had seats at our table with our names on it and everything. I kind of geeked at that. And then some Drive representative came down and saw us, and they're like, "Hey guys, how's it going?" Introduced himself, and he's like, "Yeah, we'll be serving lunch up in the press box here in a couple minutes. Let me take you up there."
And we were like,
"All right."
We were like, "Thank you, food."
Free, yeah.
So
exactly,
that was probably my favorite experience, just being at that park. But also Clemson's field was cool to be at because that is a beautiful stadium too. And
do you know what it's called, Ben?
I was having trouble saying that in my voiceover, in my stand-up, I mean. But they had Chinese food at the game, and that was really funny because I walked up there and I just smelled it, and then I text Dowdy, "They have Chinese food here." He's like, "What?"
I'm like, "What?" "All right, I'll be up in a minute." He brings me down a plate. I'm like, "That works too."
That works.
We were relegated to film with the grounds crew, and then we got kicked to our grounds crew, or our bullpen. All right, whatever. Thank you.
So yeah, that wraps things up for our discussion about our baseball team. Thank you for watching, and be sure to tune in to more stuff on our channel. Thank you.